All right, guys. Well, today in the great game debate, we are going to talk about the classic, the great game of Tzolk'in. Wait, Tzolk'in. Sorry, just Tzolk'in. It's a 2 to 4 players, plays in 90 minutes. It's a track game with gears that move and super exciting. But you know what? Let's go to the table and take a look at exactly how it plays. Tzolk'in is a worker placement game that takes place over 26 rounds. Each round is notated by the spin of the gear at the center of the table. This gear is going to move the 5 smaller gears, and the point of that is that it's going to advance where the workers are on the tracks. In Tzolk'in, on your turn, you get to take one of 2 actions. You are either going to place your person on the next available space on any one track, or you're going to remove your pieces. When you place your workers on a track, nothing will happen. The excitement is when they are removed from the track. When they're removed from the track, they're going to take the action that their pawn is next to. Each track specializes in a specific resource. The green track will specialize in food and wood. The gray track will specialize in resources that are often used for building buildings. The orange track is largely used for advancing your technology and for building buildings. The yellow track is kind of a hodgepodge, used for going up on the god track, recruiting workers, or building buildings using food. The final track is the blue track. You're going to use these blue skulls to place on a location to score the points and to advance up the god track. The other portion of the game is advancing tracks. The god tracks is a race to the top. Whoever gets to the top first gets the most points. You also have technology tracks. As these technologies advance, you are given rewards for your worker placement actions. And then last is the track for the buildings. When you have enough resources to complete the buildings, you can complete them by taking a worker off one of the building locations. At the end of 26 rounds, whoever has the most victory points is the winner of Tzolk'in. All right, thanks, Daniel. That was great. All right, guys. Well, Tzolk'in's been around for several years, since 2012. Do you guys know what the Tzolk'in Mayan calendar is? Because I think Chris has been, or Andy is very confused by that. Do you guys know what the Mayan calendar is?
I thought it went out of date in 2012.
It did. It predicted the end of the world.
Not
and
really.
when the Mayan calendar ends, everything was going to be destroyed.
Well, the end of the world as we know it.
Well, exactly, which they may not have been far from the truth. I mean, but
About 8
that's a
years off.
topic for another day.
Yes.
So
I
all
always
right.
just thought it was a backup date for Y2K.
It was Y2K part 2.
Wow.
It was like, it wasn't as popular as the original, so the sequel was lacking.
That's true.
But
That's
is this
usually
game lacking? That's the real question. So let's just jump into it, guys. I'm gonna give you my thoughts first. So Tzolk'in is a game that I grew to like. Initially, I was like okay with it. I did buy it because it was like in my early stages of buying games where I was like, well, they say this one's good, I'm gonna buy it. But it didn't take me until the pandemic to actually really sink my teeth into this game and really get a joy out of it, because I played it largely on Board Game Arena, and it's wonderful on Board Game Arena because of all the gears that move around. When you don't have to do that manually, and the system just does it for you, it's makes the whole game kind of run smoother. Also, when you hit the undo button, it's really fun to watch because it goes, and I love me some undo buttons. So but this game, I will say, it is aesthetically pleasing. In a world of 1,000 euro games, you have to have some kind of edge to bring that person in. And I think those gears is exactly what does it for this game. And they're not just a gimmick. They work so well. Chris and I have talked in the past about how this game just doesn't work without those gears. And one of the best things about that gears, other than the way that it looks, is it forces you to forward think about your turns, because you are actually planning your movements on like 5 different gears. And every round, your meeples are going to advance 1 space. And you have to know when to pull those off and reap the benefits and when to stay. It's just a really crunchy game. It makes you get into this really fun puzzle space. There's fun tracks on it. Overall, Tzolk'in is great. It lives up to the hype, and I highly recommend it. So, John, I see you looking disgusted down there.
Before we get to John, I got to say something.
What?
What?
Come at me,
The
bro.
way you pronounced it at first, isn't that from Street Fighter 2?
Tzolk'in.
Tzolk'in!
Maybe that's where they got their inspiration. Maybe it wasn't about these race of people at all.
Might have a point. Boy, wow, Andy got a point for that. That's pretty good. Good job, Andy.
Well, let's see how many points you can get, John. Let's hear it.
Man, that's already behind Andy, and he hasn't even had a turn yet. That's pretty bad. Well, I agree with you on one thing, Daniel. I think every time I've played Tzolk'in, I've wished I had an undo button instead. Can we play something else, please? I don't get the fascination with this game. I really don't. The gears are the thing everybody likes about him, and then Daniel just said, well, it's so much better online because you don't have to mess with the gears. I thought the gears were the big cool thing about this game. Apparently it's not. To me, a game like Coloma, I think, is better. You got a cool little thing you spin around that's just as neat, but you got a thematic game that actually lives up to the theme. Instead of worrying about, come on. Let me quote the late Joan Rivers here. Can we talk? Feeding your workers, give me a break. Is that fun for anyone to feed their freaking workers? That's not fun. That's not fun at all. And say, well, you got to feed your workers. What are they supposed to do? Well, I don't have to feed my workers in any other game. Then why do I have to feed them in here? It's not fun. It's a waste of time. And it's a whole section of the board that could be something better. And that's ridiculous. And that's what really, besides everything else, besides the lack of theme, besides the somewhat monotonous play, and besides that, once you add the feeding the workers, that's the final nail in the Tzolk'in coffin. And besides that, the whole thing, if there is a theme, like I've said before, it's human sacrifice. What do you think you're doing to move up? Gods, how do you think they moved up?
All right, so a couple things.
You do
a couple
have
things real quick. What I don't understand is that, first of all, you would rather play glaucoma than Tzolk'in, and then second of all, you missed the ultimate pun of all time. You should have said, "What really grinds my gears."
Oh, very good.
You know what really grinds my gears?
I was at the edge of my seat wanting to say that, Chris. Oh,
wow.
Yes.
Why
and
didn't
I have to defend myself against John real quick because he attacked me in his little solo shot. You got to understand, the gears make that game, and in person they are exciting, but online it helps you wrap your mind around it. I would actually say if you've had troubles wrapping your mind around this game, you should play it online, and once you don't have to mess with the fiddliness of it, it might actually click a little bit better.
Don't have to mess with the fiddliness.
Can you
Ringing
expound on the
endorsement right
fiddliness? The fiddliness? Can you tell us more about the fiddliness?
It's not fiddly. It's just, no, I can't expand on it. Just know that it's fiddly fingers. All right, Chris, get us off this topic.
Yeah, no, I'm going to lean into it because I don't understand what Daniel was talking about either. Like, I guess I can see what you're saying. Like, maybe online you can do some practice games and like you can back them up if you screwed up or something. I don't understand. And playing the game, like, again, Mr. I don't care about components and art, but the gears do look cool and they do make the game functional, but I think it's super gratifying to move the gears. That's why when you were saying you like don't like doing it, I was like, what are you talking about? Like, it's super gratifying to move those gears. But yeah, so I've liked this game for a long time. I'm Mr. Old Man. I started playing this when the game first came out. And so this game in particular was very interesting for me with our game group, is that we played it for years, and then there was a lull, and then I joined this game group. And then, I tried to show the game to people a couple of times, and like no one could care less about it. And then we go to like COVID happens, and all of a sudden on our like Facebook page for our gamer group, like they just start talking about the game like crazy. I'm like, I told you people about this game. Why did you listen to me? And it was very frustrating, but whatever. But since you can do it online, then now let's listen. But let's not listen to Chris before, even though he's done this way longer than everyone. But anyways, so actually the game, the game is fantastic. I love the puzzle, the fact that like you got to figure out, I'm going to put this because like he talked about in the description, right? You on your turn you can either add or remove. You can't do both. And so it makes it this whole big puzzle of, okay, I'm gonna put one this time because next time I also want to put one. That way, that first one I put's where I actually want on the third turn to pull off. So there's a lot of thinking ahead, and it's just super gratifying. And there's also multiple different strategies you can go for. I have this one strategy I wrote in my phone years ago, and every time I'm like, next time I play, I'm going to use that strategy. Never do it. I don't know why, but I never do. But hopefully, maybe next time I can. And if I do, I'll post it in the comments.
There you go.
Andy, what you got?
Well, hold on, Chris. I think you got the most old man Chris moment there. He's like, I told you, kids.
That's right.
Game.
That's right.
Listen to me.
Correct.
All right, Andy, what do you got?
I don't want to piggyback completely off Chris, but I like a lot of what he had to say here. And I do think you sound like an immature youngster, Daniel, when you talk, I don't want to play it online because I don't have to move the components. It's a beautiful game. And you know what's great about playing it in person? Is you actually have time to think about your moves more. There actually is some time involved. There's more strategy because it's not so fast and coming at you and all the bells and whistles. I prefer.
Is there table talk? Is there table talk, Andy?
There's not a whole lot of table talk because you got to think. This is the thing.
I figured there would be if you were playing it.
I love Tzolk'in. In fact, I think Tzolk'in could be renamed. What is it? It's Gears of War is a computer game, right? Gears of War.
Oh.
It could be called Gears of Corn.
Oh, okay.
I think it could be. I love the gears. I love the different aspects. It's a great worker placement. What you don't like, John, is you don't like tension. And you got to love tension. That's what's great about a Euro game like that is it's so tense. You do have to feed your people. You have to make these tough choices. You can't do everything. You have to craft a strategy. You can't just be all mamby-pamby and, I feel like doing this and I'll do this and I'll do this. No, you got to come up with a strategy, man. This is real life. Tzolk'in is amazing. It's a great game. I'm going to do my next parody on it. It's either going to be called, Gears of Corn or something about J.R.R. Tzolk'in.
I like that one too.
But to clarify, Andy, I like having to make decisions that you don't have time to do everything. You have to focus and things like that. But nothing you do feels any different than anything else you do, except for when you have to feed your people. And that's boring and stupid.
You haven't played it enough.
Okay.
You can actually, I actually won the
going
strategy.
up on one track feels the same as going up on another track.
Hey, John. Yes, you're correct. That's every track game. Anyways, but I actually won this game handedly by not feeding my people. So there's a strategy for that. And I went to the soul route, which was thematic because my people were dying. So I sacrificed them and I got more points that way.
There's a valid point there to where you can starve your people for a period of time to build up certain things and then choose to be benevolent later. And
so it sounds like, John, you just need to play it with us again and we'll teach you the ways of starvation. And then maybe you will like this game.
Yes.
All right.
Let's see.
Well, that's enough of Tzolk'in. That's what we think of
Yes,
it.
it
Three of us really like it. One of us hates it. I think he's being very stubborn with it, but that's okay. Let us know what you think of Tzolk'in, and remember to subscribe.
Thank you for watching this clip from Around the Board. If you'd like to watch the full episode, please click on the link down below. Around the Board is essentially a game show featuring 4 board game enthusiasts that discuss board game topics and news in a competitive format. Whoever wins gets to talk about whatever he wants at the end of the show. So please join us, won't you, Around the Board.